Hello and happy Friday, gamers. Welcome to this week's new episode of Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. Folks, we have an outstanding show for you today. We're going to be talking about machine games, Indiana Jones. What visual do we want? Do we want first person? Do we want third person? Or if you're Wilmy Hood, you want fourth person, which I don't even know if that's a thing, but we have a couple
we
of
can
guests.
make it a thing, dude. We got to make it a thing.
We have a couple of guests here, and of course, Fuzzy Belvedere, the prima donna, Mr. Late. Here he is. Now, let me get him in here, folks. Hold on, let me fix that. There we go. That's that beautiful man. There he is.
He had to make an entrance. I showed
He
you.
had to make an entrance.
Your name's
Indeed,
Fuzzy.
He did.
Your name's Fuzzy, but you bald. That makes no sense.
No, he's got the
he's got the beard. So I mean, there's something.
Now, if we call Ham Fuzzy, I can
already
understand.
messy.
There we go.
It's already messy. It's great. Folks, listen, we are on Ninth Circuit Court Watch. As that is happening today at some point. Most of the legal experts in the community that we know, like Hogue Law and Foss Patents and a few others, think that this is Hail Mary by the FTC. I personally do not see the Ninth Circuit giving them the appeal or even giving them the stay. If you're not sure what the stay means, basically that means that they put a hold that Microsoft can't close. And in order to do that, the FTC has a huge hill to climb, and they basically have to say that Judge Corley's decision was incompetent, which we know that it wasn't. I mean, most of us who have been following this closely have read what she said, and she literally destroyed the FTC at every corner. This is another delay tactic. We're going to talk about how, of course, Lena Khan, enemy number one of Xbox fans, apparently, gummed up the situation by, obviously putting for the appeal. But yesterday on Capitol Hill, they did not pull any punches. She was eviscerated. She had really no really good answers. And depending on who you speak to, the whole ideology behind the appeal wasn't because they thought that they could win. It was so she could not so she didn't have to answer the questions of Congress regarding what she's doing protecting Sony, which is a Japanese company. And every time she was asked about ABK, she simply said, "We don't agree with the judge. We are appealing, and we can't speak about it because it's current open litigation," which was, a coward's tactic. But I think that the Ninth Circuit judges, which two are Republican and one is Democrat, are going to see through the smoke screen that the FTC is trying to do. From what I heard, and like I said, if you listen to Foss Patents, and I like to listen to him because he's very smart, as well as Everborn Saga, what the FTC is hoping, folks, is that this confuses the judges enough for them to say, hey, let's put a stay on this because we need more time. I don't think that's going to happen, folks. I don't think that is going to happen. I think the FTC judges, the three judges that were, not the FTC, the three judges from the Ninth Circuit are going to potentially side with their own federal judge from the Ninth Circuit and go based on her opinion, not changing a thing. But let's get into the introductions. Dave, what's going on, brother? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, Boom. I'm so ready for today. It's going to be a good day. Tick-tock, tick-tock.
Yeah, it's a shame that we're here again, right? Like, we thought that the Judge Corley decision, which was fair, it was honest, It was thorough. The FTC wasn't prepared. Their analysis was flawed, and it seems like dirty tactics was what we're dealing with.
But Boom, this is it, though. That's the thing.
Yeah,
this is going to be it. There's no hold barred. The CMA, they did a little extension thing. It's because they can close over them.
Yes, they can.
They've already agreed to basically meet and hash things out over the next couple of months. It gives them time to finish that up without anybody having any problems, and everything's going to be good, and the world's going to come together in peace and love. Peace and love.
Apparently what they are going to do, and we'll get into it in further detail with specifically with the CMA, who announced that their final decision it could come as late as August 28th, but sooner. And what Microsoft has agreed to do, from what we're understanding and what I have been told behind the scenes, is a divestiture of cloud gaming for specifically with Call of Duty. So a third-party company is going to be the one handling cloud. Like, say, for instance, another company opens up outside of Boosteroid. This third-party company is going to be the one dealing with them. It's like selling off the rights for cloud gaming. It's really not that big of a deal. And it's going to be what it's going to be. The deal is going to get closed ultimately. But we have a couple of guests here, one of which is here regularly, which, of course, is Ham Solo. How you feeling, dude? Welcome back. Oh, you're muted. Oh, no. We got to hear the voice.
Good. I just didn't want... I had this thing loading up. I've been jamming out on this game since last night. Exoprimal on, but I downloaded it on my Steam Deck.
What do you think?
I'm really liking this game so far. It's kind of weird.
It is weird. Sure. We're gonna talk about Exoprimal because I'm glad you played it. I got an hour recorded. I was a little taken aback by the multiplayer aspect, Ham.
Right.
I didn't know it wasn't a straight up, hey, bots. Boom, go ham, no pun intended. This was it's multiplayer, but not in a way that's bad.
Right. And like I haven't really determined if this is a game that I'm gonna stick to.
Okay.
But like so far I'm having those, early days fun with it. And I'm just gonna let that ride.
Okay.
I'm not gonna sit there. And I don't want to overanalyze something I've only given like 2.5 hours to. I mean, I feel like that's unfair. So,
what type of gamer are you, sir, to not give an opinion on a game with that less time on it?
I guess I'm.
You should be a game journalist for real now.
I guess.
Play an hour and give it a 5. That's exactly.
I mean. I like it so far. I just like all the big explosions and stuff like that. I'm not sure if I'm enjoying the game as much as I'm just liking playing it on the Steam Deck, just because I'm like just kind of impressed that all those explosions and stuff happen on this little device. So it might just be that, but I played a little bit of it on the Series X too. But like I said, it hasn't even been out. It's been out for like
couple of hours.
12 hours.
Yeah,
less than 12 hours. So
yeah.
So I'm not ready. I got to have a couple bad games for it to really let me know if I'm having a good time or not. If that makes any sense.
It does make sense because again, you're right. There are a lot of explosions. The mech suits are pretty cool. I'm using one of the assault ones, one of the the first assault ones. They all have supers in some sorts. Mine is that everything, his whole suit opens up and there's guns everywhere, and it lasts for about maybe 15 seconds. I took down a Tyrannosaurus Rex with it. It was pretty cool. It does have some Overwatch, elements to where you're following the box that has to get there, but there's another team of real players that you have to beat to the end, and then when you meet in the middle, you guys fight. And then we took down that team, and our box made it to the end, and theirs didn't. And it was pretty intense. I at first I was like, it's multiplayer, I don't like it, but I we have a comment here. Where is it? Sarcastic Taurus says, I like Exoprimal. It's one of those games you play in between other games. Does make sense.
That's a fact. Because it definitely will never be like the game that I like can't wait to get home to play. I like it's already lost that one right there. But like like I said, I got it on my Steam Deck. I got it to run on here. And the RE engine is dope.
Yeah, it is.
So
yeah.
So I mean, that right there was a W on its own to where I could be like, oh, I can already play it anywhere. I mean, I don't know how Starfield's going to run on this Steam Deck or any like game that I'm really looking forward to down the line. So like the more things I can get onto my Steam Deck and get to work, I know I'm going to be getting to and playing.
It's funny you say that.
When
I'm gonna try after the show to download it on my ROG.
Oh, you gotta. You gotta,
yeah,
man. I mean, if I'm getting it to run here, it should run like a champ.
I'm gonna do that because this is something I could sit there. Mrs. Boom, she falls asleep. I'm sitting there in the dark like a kid. I'm like, yes, let's go.
I feel like I'm the baseline for you ROG guys out there. I'm using the lower thing, so if it works good over here, I mean, if we rocking out over here, then you guys should be good because. What I had to do to get Windows to run on this thing.
Oh, I do.
Like,
good for you. Good on you, man.
Man, shout out to Kay Asante. That man is a freaking G. Man, he helped me out.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. But listen, Ham, great to have you here, brother. Thank you so much for joining us again. Wilmy Hood. This is a name, folks, that is synonymous with the community. Obviously, he's a community first dude. Didn't have such a great health year. So we're glad to still have him with us. King of Horror, as you know. Wilmy Hood, welcome back, brother. How you feeling?
Oh, man, I feel great. It's good to be back. Matter of fact, after last year, I'm glad to be any freaking where at this point besides under the dirt. But, yeah, it's been hey, I came really close.
I know, dude. It was bad. It was scary. Absolutely.
And, yeah, man, I'm just ready to talk about all this stuff. It's been interesting watching the FTC. And I don't know. I know we're going to talk about it, but man, I've got a lot of thoughts on the FTC.
No, I'm glad. You know what? Well, you're obviously you're a combat veteran. You gladly and proudly not only defended the country, but you are someone that has big opinions on government. And obviously, this is a video game show. We're not going to turn it into a political shim-sham because everyone would tune out. I would tune out.
I would too.
I'm the host. So we're gonna keep it video game related. I will say though, I'm embarrassed of our government allowing for Lena Khan to run rampant the way she has and waste our taxpayer dollars on a case that she knows she can't win. She literally cannot win the case. The only way she quote unquote wins is if she times out the deal. And I in my heart, like I'm very, very centered, or I have a very high moral compass for right and wrong. And when I see this type of injustice happening, I'm not saying this from an ex-bot's point of view. I'm saying this from a consumer who has a really good pension that I worked really hard to get. But that pension, like I've said before, has a ceiling. And with anything in the world, the first thing to go that if you have to pay your mortgage and you have to pay your phone bill and your Con Ed and everything else is entertainment. And Xbox Game Pass, the value for me is through the roof. You add ABK to it, now you're talking about leaps and bounds. So that's why I have a vested interest in this, not just as an Xbox, as you'll see a lot of the anti-Xbox fans out there running, that narrative. But we'll get to all of that. Crispy Bomb, my brother, dude, it's so great to have you back. Obviously, you took some personal time off that you needed, but man, good morning, and how the hell are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Just watching the skies, making sure there's no bolts coming down because it's pretty gnarly out here. But
wow.
Yeah, it's great to be back, and we got a lot to get into, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yes. Well, it's great to have you back, and we do have a lot to get into. And Fuzzy Belvedere, what's going on, dude? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Glad to be here with you guys. Sorry about running a little late. It's never fails. Update for the camera just as I go to log on. It's like, oh, you got to update now. I'm like,
Ham was the only one complaining, dude, about you being late, just so you know. Boone told Ham you had a good excuse.
I was freaking pissed.
Oh, Ham was
sorry,
dude.
I was
feeling some sort of way about the whole situation.
I mean, before you got in, they were like, Ramsey, slow down. It's all right.
Yeah, he was telling Boone to kick you off the panel. I mean, dude, it was.
I cannot believe this. This is shenanigans that is happening.
It's like, tell him to get out. When he gets in, tell him to get out.
No, but man, these past couple of days have been so entertaining between Twitter and YouTube, watching some of the courtroom, well, not courtroom, but like the hearings and things like that. But man, it's almost over. Stocks are coming off the stock exchange. Was it Monday? So
officially Monday
$95
morning.
a share.
Yeah. Yep.
And move on from this, and then we can all get back to regular gaming news. But man, so much to get into today. Can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, folks, obviously, Lena Khan, the FTC, Activision, Blizzard King, Microsoft. We're going to get to that probably towards the back end of the show. I did want to open up with some video game stuff. Again, obviously, Exoprimal. You heard me and Ham Solo talking about it. It's in Game Pass. I just bought the season pass. It was $9 instead of $10 because I saved $1 through Game Pass, which it's fine. Got a bunch of outfits, got a bunch of cosmetics, which is it's a gas game, folks. That's what it is. It is a game that we will get into. I don't know if we're going to make it a topic per se because that's a game that literally, just like Ham Solo said, only a couple hours. So I saw like 3 of my friends out of like the 1,000 people playing. So I'm like, yeah, probably a lot of people didn't get to it. My experience has been, I've had a lot of fun with it so far. I've only played for an hour. I got about an hour recorded. I'm going to put like a 3-hour clip together so I can start playing it during the podcast, when we have like 4 or 5 people.
If we do talk about it, I do have a few gripes, but I just didn't want to dig into it too much on my intro.
Yeah, no, so, you know what? How about this, Ham? How about we do this? Instead, we will get to Indiana Jones momentarily. Let's open up with Exoprimal, and let's start with you, because I have some gripes too. I mean, it's not a perfect game. The game looks great. I will say this. It plays like butter. It really does. The movements, the attacks, no slowdown, and there is a lot of things on the screen. When these portals start opening up and these dinosaurs start pouring out, there's like 50 or 60 things on the screen, and I didn't experience any slowdown. This is on top of you plus 4 other people, all converging in one area. Ham, let's get your hot take on this. What are your gripes on Exoprimal from Capcom?
So my gripe is definitely not the RE engine. That thing is
strong,
like butter. Same engine that they used to do Resident Evil 4, the recent game that got a 94 on Metacritic. That game is pretty fire. But I'm telling you, the game looks butter smooth, plays nice and smooth. Only issue I've ever even had with even this Steam Deck here was just latency from me being too far away from my router. But other than that, it was great. But the gripes I have for it, like just the amount of selection that you have when getting into the game of modes and types to play, as of right now, just seems like underwhelming. The very first mission that game kicks you off in, it forces PvP.
It does.
Or whatever that thing is called, and I don't like that.
Yeah,
I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
And it made for an even more like not sure understanding of it when I actually got into PvE. I was like, because I'm a PvE guy. I'm not sitting here trying to go verse all these sweats all the time. Like I'll play games like Call of Duty and stuff like that if I want to go verse some sweats or play Halo. Like I really enjoy those games for the multiplayer. This type of game, I'm just trying to kick back and chill for the most part. Very much like Second Extinction, right? Because Second Extinction, dinosaurs like crazy and whatnot. But as I said earlier, this game's a lot more smooth than that one, and actually a lot more shiny and more explosive too. But yeah, another thing that I really did not like is I hate it when games do this. Can you just give me the click on each button? I don't want to scroll on my Xbox controller. I don't want to scroll on my Steam Deck controller. I literally just want to go left, right, up, or down. I do not like I do not like mouse controls on a controller. It does not feel good unless you're playing very particular games, where in that case, I think you would be expecting to do it like a Age of Empire, something like that, where where that action kind of makes more sense, or even City Skylines, something like that makes more sense as well, because you're expecting to do that in the game. But like Redfall did it too. Like I don't like these scroll around with the controller stuff. Kind of finicky, sure, but it just kind of puts me off a little bit. I guess as well, a thing that I'm not really enjoying so much is just some of like when I first turned on the game, something that I won't really have to worry about again, I hope, is just when you first turn on that game and they put you through the training mode, it is just like, for the love of God, let me play.
Yes, and yes. Yeah.
Super frustrating, but boom, I'm really interested in rest of the panel. Did you guys have a moment of your time to even play this game? I know you said you did, Boom. What were some of your gripes?
Okay, so the training mode was egregious because I kept hitting the left button to move, and I'm like, why am I stuck? What is happening?
Walking really slow too.
Because you had to look at the certain points. Like, when you first started Halo Combat Evolved, it says look straight, look right, Master Chief. It was kind of like that. So it was very old school. I have to agree with now understand, I'm enjoying the game, but it took a minute to get there. The thing that like you said, when you first start the game, you get past the training mission. You do a small mission, kind of get your, feet wet, and then it forces you into PvP and E, right? I'm like, where can I pick a mission? And it's only the one mission available. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, let me pick this. So for me, I made a bit of a boo-boo, and I made it, I wound up clicking no crossplay. So it took a little while for me to find a match, maybe about a couple of minutes, nothing egregious. But when I got in, and you see the other 5 players across the map, and where you're with your 4 real people, they're real people, randos. I was like, okay. And then when we got into the action, I completely forgot that I was playing PvE. PvE.
Yeah, until the end of the match, really.
Right.
You don't really notice.
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I would say, first of all, graphically it's beautiful. It plays like butter. I am gonna say that it is a gas game at its absolute core, because in the right hand corner of almost every time you go back to the base, there's like, hey, buy me. There's new suits available. You could really put that on the pay no mind list. I bought the top tier, or the tier 1, I think they call it, season pass for $10 for $8.99, which is fine because I usually buy these things anyway. It shouldn't scare you away from the game. So again, I have to make sure, but while you select your mission, there is boxes that you can check where it's PvE, PvP, or both. I'm probably going to do just the PvE. That's where I'm going to stay, because I'd rather just fight dinosaurs. I don't want to fight anybody else, because if I want to fight anyone else, I'll put on Halo Infinite. That's fine. So listen, before we get to Fuzzy Belvedere, get your hot take on what we're going to do here. We have 2 super chats already, so thank you so much, and they're new names, which is amazing. And by the way, shout out to the community. You helped me get past 13K the other day live on Primetime Gaming. We are unbelievably grateful for that. And now the goal, 14K, hopefully by 15K by the end of the year, but we shall see. This first super chat comes in the day of One-Eyed Will. Now I kind of wonder if that is from Goonies, One-Eyed Willie, because if it is, you are ultra cool. If not, you're still cool. Thank you for the £5 super chat. And he says, good afternoon from the UK. What a great panel. Love you guys. Hold the line. Keep it green. Indeed, brother. We love you too. And yes, we are going to hold the line because the FTC ultimately is going to lose because the judges aren't stupid. They're federal judges for a reason. And I think that they're going to know that this is a smokescreen by Lena Khan and the very, very poor offering regarding their defense, which was just so many holes were poked through. It was just embarrassing. But that's why they keep losing, because they're a bunch of boobs at the FTC. We also have, I think it's Sneck or Sneak. It's SNEK. First of all, welcome to the show. Another new name that I've never seen before. That is awesome. Thank you so much for the very generous $10 super chat. And says, Fuzzy, can I get a thumbs up while you give me one of those fuzzy slow nods of approval? I love it. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Hold on a sec, guys. Of course, there's a fire truck going past when we're doing it live. Unbelievable. We have a new, and this is great. See, first of all, Mrs. Boom and I incredibly appreciate the super chats. Now, we do turn these into monster giveaways. We obviously, when I needed a new PC, I bought it with that. When we need new equipment, when we update all of the programs every year, you got to update because they're all in my subscriptions. That's what we use it for. We have another one from Yup Yup, and that is pretty cool because that's a name that I'm not familiar with. So welcome to the program, and thank you so much for the very generous $5 super chat. And says, "Happy Friday, Boom! What's your collector level in Marvel Snap?" I think it's okay. Hold on a sec. I'll do this live on the air because I literally play this game every day. It's right here. There it is. My collector's level is like 2,000 something, I think. I have so many hours. I have literally so many hours in this game. It's egregious. But I am. Again, that's a game. They get me every month. I hate to be that guy because I'm not a whale. I don't spend thousands of dollars on games, but I definitely buy the season pass, the one that's $15. Dean Rivera drops a very generous $5 super chat and said, "Wait a second. Oh no, okay, yeah." He said Yup Yup says, "Whoa, he just hit level 5,260. And if you know what that game is, yeah, what is my level? Hold on a sec. 2,000. Wow. I'm embarrassed to even say this publicly. 2,573. I thought I was doing something. Brother, you made me look like a fool, but I appreciate it. And I'm glad you're enjoying it. But Fuzzy, let's talk Exoprimal. This is a game that needs players to live because there's no single player. It is a gas game. It makes perfect sense now as to why Microsoft made the deal, or at least more so Capcom made the deal to get this in the Game Pass, because what Game Pass does for a lot of games is it gets eyes and hands on controllers. Is this a game that you're going to download? Does another gas game be added to your playlist?
I'll definitely give it a try. I know me and a few people were having fun on it when it was in the demo or beta phase like a month or so ago. So I'll definitely give it a try again, especially between now and season 1 starting for Diablo. There's that little bit of lull. I already got my cars for the week for Forza Horizon 5. Already, nice. I'm about halfway through the cosmetic items for Division. So something in between Diablo and now, yeah, I'll probably give it a try this weekend. But the big thing from when I was playing the demo, just the RE engine being able to have so many like dinosaurs falling out of the sky,
it's crazy
in such a short period of time. It's like, yeah, it most games, if you have 100 enemies on screen, you can see it lagging. But this one, you can almost have 1,000 dinosaurs falling from the sky, and it seems to continuously run butter smooth. So definitely worth giving it a try. I love the fact that something like this in Game Pass is just try it, you like it, keep it on the hard drive, or test it out on the cloud if you don't want to take up the hard drive space before you know if you like it or not. So yeah, definitely giving it a try this weekend as well.
Yeah, I look, like I said, folks, there's no, if you have Game Pass, and a lot of us do, and honestly, why wouldn't you, for the amount of money? Because obviously it's going to be 17 for new subscribers in August. But OGs like many of us here, we have it. We're paid. Like I'm paid up into 2026, folks. I'm not even going to front. June 2026 is when I'm paid up from. Let's Crispy Bomb. Let's get your hot take on this, dude. Is Exoprimal, because you're a multiplayer guy. We know your obviously connection to Gears. This game is fun multiplayer, and I would imagine it's got to be even more fun when you're playing with actual people in a party that you know, because it's unusual. It's teams of 5, which gets a lot of people in there. 4 plus yourself. I mean, Game Pass. No, there's no risk. If you have it, you play it, and it sucks, get rid of it. But if you like it, especially if you're a multiplayer guy, gal, I don't know, man. What do you think?
I mean, my first experience with PvPE is, the Dark Zone in the Division. That was always an interesting way of doing it, and it was very frustrating at times. And I would be one of those guys that'd be like, screw it, I'm going in alone. I need to get some better weapons. And I've done that many times. That was always the incentive. So, I mean, you guys kind of make it sound like it's going to be like even playing field, which will make it more interesting, because at the end of the day in the Division, you could go against a sweat, because there are sweats in the Division. And
I love how the sweaty name dropped.
They would take all the cookies from you. They would wait for you in the dark corner alley, and they would take all of your cookies. And he'd be like, no, I earned that. I
earned those damn cookies, damn it. I went down into the subway, and I fought a couple of top tier flamethrower pricks, and I earned it, and someone steals it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, I mean, this sounds a little more up my alley, because, I did like what they did with Division 2. It made it a little bit harder to just do that, which I know some people hated, but it sounds like they're at least experimenting in a different way. And I mean, it's got mechs, so despite not really selling it for me, Ham, I'm still gonna give it a shot, but that'll be in due time. I did pick up a Seagate 1 terabyte for like $110.
Oh, nice, dude.
Prime Day was pretty good for me. I had a lot of they and that's the thing. If you got to go on yourself, because it goes through your search history, over time, and it will pull up stuff. And I have searched it, and I was like, yeah, I'll save like $50-$60 on this. Why not? You know what I mean? So I'll wait for that, just because I don't feel like uninstalling anything, or it's like, well, I'll have an extra terabyte there, and that'll be nice. So I'll definitely give it a shot at some point.
Yeah, like I said, it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I will say this, Wilmy. This is the game. I don't know, because you play multiplayer a lot, because you obviously are, chatting away with all your buddies. The only thing that I might say about this game is that in the opening, it might be a little slow, and it might scare some people away. I say give it a shot. Get past training. Get past the first, mission with bots. Get past the second, the second mission that you're kind of forced into PvEP, and try it afterwards. It drags a little bit,
Boom,
but it is a new IP.
Boom, like the problem with it from the jump is like we're saying, once you get past, and that kind of stinks.
Yeah, it does, 100%.
Open up it's like when you're opening up, the present, and then there's another box. Like when people played those tricks on you for Christmas, and you'd like open like 10 boxes, and then you'd finally get to the bottom box, open it, and be like, oh, okay,
another tie.
Yeah. Either it's something really dope, or it's a shoulder shrug. So like. But the problem is that first part of the game, like getting into, like going through the training, and then going through the first match, and as well as the cutscenes, because the cutscenes aren't short.
Yeah, they're long. Yeah, they're telling a story. Yeah,
you're looking at, I'm not even kidding, like an hour to an hour and 15 minutes just at the beginning of the game. Not even kidding.
Yeah, it's long. It's long. You could skip them. It's not like a Kojima game where you're kind of stuck there. You could, and if you don't care about story, you hold B. You get right into the action. So I mean, I care about story. I did watch it. Again, I don't think this is going to be one of those games that is in the end of the year game of the year talk. But that doesn't mean it's not a good game. I am having a blast because when the game is on and it's chaotic, it is fun. Like when you have Tyrannosaurus Rex, you have raptors, you have Triceratops, you got pterodactyls, all converging on just the 5 of you. It's like put your back to somebody and just keep shooting. It's fun. It is a lot of fun. If you die, you can respawn and run to your team. But they do have multiple classes, and the support class is pretty dope. If you like those kind of games like Overwatch, this game is definitely for you because it has a multitude of different mechs for each class. Like there's assault, there's tanks, there's they have the heavy gunners, they have support. The support can drop like this big circle of health, and everyone jumps into the circle, and you're fighting the dinosaurs, and they're healing you at the same time. It's pretty dope. I'm gonna be honest with you, Wilmy. Is this a game that you're gonna give it a shot? Because I know you like dinosaurs, you like horror.
I'll give it a shot as soon as I can get away from Diablo 4. I am like level 83, 84 on Diablo. I have been grinding that game since it came out with the wife. So, yeah, I'll get to it eventually. I think.
See, the last thing I want to say about this is that it's a game as a service, like Gaz. I mean, not a Gaz. Oh my goodness! Like Boom said, I said Gaz. Goodness gracious. It's a game as a service to be played in a service. I don't know if I'd tell anybody to go out and buy it because, like Boom said, this is a game that relies on players being in it.
Yeah,
to play.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the old game.
Do you want to run into a mag? Yeah, I was gonna say, do you want to run into a mag situation where you went and spent 50 to? I don't know exactly off the top of my head how much this game is.
It's $70, dude. It's $70.
Yo, so do you want to pay $70 and then find out next year that, or in 2 years from now, or even 3, that this game is no longer around? Do you want to really bet on a game that could possibly be the same as what was it, Babylon's Fall?
Oh God, no. That'd be devastating. I mean, it's Capcom, so I would imagine that they know the game is going to have some growing pains, but Capcom doesn't really abandon their things.
Now, what about the Resident Evil multiplayer? Remember that one?
Oh yeah, well that's true, dude. You know something? You might, yeah. I you know, and that's the crazy thing. I actually forgot about that. That RE
that never
versus
really became a thing, even though
Yeah.
they tried.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. That was a failure for sure. I never played it. I got it when I bought the whatever Ultimate Collection. Whatever it was for Resident. Was it 3 that came out for, or was it 2? But I didn't play because
a couple of different games that came out.
Not so much for me. I will say this game is completely based on playing with other people. So if that's not your bag, if you're not, like I said, the best way I could describe it, Wilmy, is if you are someone that appreciates the Overwatch 1, Overwatch 2, this game is definitely going to be for you. That we know that they're dropping a Ryu mech skin, which is pretty dope. I'm hoping that we see some other mech skins make their way into the game. I would imagine Capcom is going to potentially even sell those, which wouldn't surprise me. But I'd love to see like a Strider looking mech would be pretty dope. An Animusha looking one, like samurai armor, would be pretty dope as well. We will see. We will see. Dave, are you there, sir? And I had to step away.
I'm here.
Okay,
I'm
so
back.
He got eaten by a dinosaur.
He got eaten by a dinosaur playing this game. Damn it, we lost Dave. Dave, what is because you said in the beginning, nah. So I mean, I don't think this game is jumping off the page for you. Will you give it a shot because it's an Xbox Game Pass?
I mean, I might. Some friends wanted to play, then sure, download it, play it, or cloud it, play it. Sure, why not? But I don't know any of my friends immediately. They were like, hey Dave, let's go play this. But if somebody did, then I would for sure. But as far as that goes, I played the demo. It's okay. Played for about an hour, and it was just just didn't. There's so many other great things to play. I just kind of like next. So
yeah, no, it's true. I put it to this way: this year is so loaded with games. Like, oh my god! I mean, forget the fact that Starfield is going to steal all of our lives.
That might be a problem too, Boom, with this game in general. Is just like, and I've been saying the same thing about Immortals of Aveum. I'm like, bro, like, what are you doing? You moved right next to Starfield. like you went from a day one to see you in 2024.
So we're gonna have shirts soon that say married, single, or Starfield.
I love that. You should make that. You should make
that's
that
fantastic.
Shirt. That's pretty dope, man.
That's a shirt to sell on your channel, right?
And that's a great shirt. That's great. Check box, and I would imagine Wilmy Hood, being as scandalous as he is, going to check box Starfield. It's crazy.
2 checks.
Yeah, a double check. It's going to be a life stealer. Listen, folks, hopefully you're enjoying it. We have 700 people here, which is absolutely astounding for a small show. If you're new, and I saw a lot of new names here, I would ask that you would consider hitting the not only the like button while you're here, but the subscribe button, because I do this 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 5 different shows, all different panels, but we never sell hate to get you to watch. You'll never get that over here. You get fun conversations, you get a lot of laughs, and obviously you get consistent content, because I do this, again, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, different times. Usually 12 is the starting time for 3 of the shows. Primetime Gaming on Wednesdays is at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we have the one morning show, which of course is today, Breakfast with Boom, at 10 a.m. But I really want to talk Indiana Jones, because the movie did not do good. That's a fact. They lost a lot of money on that. They didn't spend an egregious amount of money to make it. I don't know if it's going to do better in its later runs. It's probably going to do decently on digital, because I will, of course, buy it. I did not go to the theater to see it because I'm still uncomfortable about going to the movie theater. It's weird. But why I bring that up, gentlemen, is because Machine Games took a pretty freaking cool picture, and they posted it on social media, and they basically said, congrats to Lucasfilm and Disney for the exciting release of Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny. What's really cool is I would imagine that they were invited by Disney to see the film, because they have a picture of the entire dev team in a movie theater, which is cool. So what does it equate to gaming? Well, we had learned through the hearing that happened between the FTC and Microsoft with Judge Corley that that the Indiana Jones game was originally going to be a multi-plat. Microsoft went back to Disney and said, hey, we want to drop this in the Game Pass, but we want to drop this and make it exclusive to PC and Xbox. And Disney said, sure. They took their bag of money, because they're kind of hurting for money right now. But as exciting as having an Indiana Jones exclusive is, and I think it's incredibly exciting, because a couple of years ago, I would even say it's like about 5 years ago now, if you remember the big hubbub, it's actually longer than 5 years, it might be 10 years, when Tomb Raider was made exclusive for a year on Xbox, where Microsoft got a lot of heat for, which, and like I said, it's incredible how Sony does it, thumbs up, Microsoft does it, big X. Don't do that. You shouldn't do that. And in an interview, Phil Spencer specifically said, hey, listen, we don't have our own Uncharted. I wish we did. Now they do. And I mean, call it whatever you want. Indiana Jones is a big name. Now, it's more of an important name for older folks, like a lot of people on this panel, but a lot of the younger
Hey,
folks,
I'm 28, dude. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
well, listen, you know what? I did not know that. Congratulations on being 28, you prick.
if you add a few years to it.
Yeah, I don't know, 20 years or so.
Yeah, 22 more years on top of
Oh
that.
my God. I'm still older than you, so you have nothing to worry about.
Oh,
there.
I
So
know.
I'm the
That's
oldest
the best
prick
part.
here. There's no doubt about it. But the question, see, we don't know anything about the game. We've seen some like digital art renders, right? Now, what I saw was a camera kind of back and Indiana Jones overlooking something. So here's the question, chat. Here's the question, panel. We'll go first to our guest, Wilmy Hood. Indiana Jones, at least in my opinion, needs to be told in the third person, over the shoulder, story driven narrative. It's Indiana Jones. There are going to be puzzles. There's going to be boulders you're running away from. There's going to be something, spiritual potentially with the story. It's not based on Dial of Destiny. It's going to be a new, never told before story, which is great. But we know if you watched Indiana Jones that there is some mysticism to it. For you, does this game need to be in first person or third person or a combination of both?
I would rather see it a combination.
Okay, that's fair.
Like Starfield. Because I really like my shooters in first
nice.
person. And story games, kind of like you said, third person works. But when it comes to shooting, I prefer first person.
Right.
So maybe a combination. I know it's probably not what's going to happen, but I'd like to see it that way. But I'll try it either way. I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I mean, what if it was the player's choice, Wilmy? Like you said, Starfield is a great comparison. The Starfield could be played either way, player's choice. I think player choice is key. But I also want them to tell the story that they want to tell. Like I don't want to sacrifice potential story because it needs to be X, Y, and Z. I mean, again, I'm hoping that it's third person because I look at Tomb Raider and I look at Uncharted and I say those stories and the way that they tell those stories through its cinematics and through its gameplay really hit a different way for me as a gamer who prefers third person over first. But I kind of like what you're putting down. Are you a fan of Indiana Jones and are you excited that Xbox has this as an exclusive?
I've never really been into Indiana Jones.
Okay.
But I did watch the first movie when it originally came out. And like I told you before we went live, the only part I remember is when he shoots the guy in the town square. That's really about it. The guy comes out swinging his sword, doing all this fancy sword work.
He does all the moves and he just shoots him dead. And that's
it was reality for me. I mean, that's the way that would really go down, right? But I'm going to play it regardless. Why? It's in Game Pass. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I don't have to go out and buy the game, realize I don't like it, and take it back to GameStop and they give me $20 for it.
Yeah. I was going to say 50 cents, but yeah, you're right. $20.
Well, yeah, 50 cents more than likely now. It is 2023. But yeah, I just deleted off my Xbox and move on to another game. But I'm always willing to give it a shot. I'm open-minded.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, listen, again, the beauty and I really hate when people try to downplay the importance of Game Pass being like, hey, there's no risk. Download the game, try it, and if you don't like it, you just delete it off your hard drive. A lot of people try to downplay that as being, oh, it's just more cannon fodder for a service that nobody likes. Well, 30 million plus people like it. Now
you have to remember, Boom.
Yes, sir.
If you go in your bathroom and turn off all the lights, if you say Game Pass in front of the mirror 3 times, there are 5 Twitter trolls will come to your house and haunt you.
Oh my goodness. I did not know that. So, folks, public service, a message from Wilmy Hood. Don't go into your bathroom, shut the lights off, look in the mirror, and say Xbox Game Pass 3 times because you might have 5 trolls at your door. And we don't want trolls by our door because they want to be fed, and you don't want to feed the trolls. Ham Solo, I want to bring you in on the conversation.
Hide your wife.
Goodness. Let me just catch up on these super chats. First of all, the next one comes from a good friend of the program, Dean Rivera. Drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, the judges for the appeal, are they set in stone? I just thought that it's a building full of judges. I think and they get picked at random. I'm just curious. Okay, so I'm actually not sure. From what I was told originally, that the judges, no one specific, but there would be 2 Republicans and 1 Democrat. Now, I don't know why that is. That's what I was told. But I think you're onto something. I think that the Ninth Circuit is loaded with judges. I think they have 26 of them, if I'm not mistaken. And I would imagine that 3 that are not on something are going to hear this case. Again, I think what's working against the FTC is the fact that the deal is going to close on potentially 12:01 tonight, which would be 3:01 here in the East Coast. 12:01 in San Francisco time, Saturday morning is when we're expecting that this thing is going to close. If there's no ruling for the stay, and the stay basically is they put a pause on allowing Microsoft and Activision to close. What's going against the FTC is the fact that there's no immediate market harm, so they could just say, okay, well, we'll hear your appeal in like November. You have your own case coming up in the end of August. Microsoft said that they're not going to integrate Activision. So if there's a divestiture that's necessary, it can still be done. There's no reason to stop a $70 billion deal based on a case that you've already lost. So I honestly think that the judges are going to dismiss the FTC's request for a stay. And ultimately, if they do that, and again, we'll talk more about what happened with Lena Khan. If the deal is consummated, meaning it's signed, all bets are off. It's done. Now, could there be a divestiture of some sort if there's something illegal that the FTC wants to continue to fight? Yes, but it's highly unlikely. But Igmatic Dreams drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Thank you for all that you do, Boom. I found so many people through you, and I can't thank you enough. Plus, I'm going to keep saying it, Parasite Eve remake and by Capcom." Listen, check, and check. First of all, thank you very much, Igmatic, for the very high compliment. I definitely appreciate that. And Parasite Eve is a G. There is no doubt about it. I don't know how many people played that. I actually played that in Japanese and bought it and played it because I used to import everything. Parasite Eve is dope. That was Square Enix at their best, not Square Enix of today, which is kind of stinks.
I remember that game very well.
Yeah, it was fan-freaking-tastic, dude. It was so good. Dreadful Sean just a very generous $5 super chat and says, Immortals of Avium went from day one to wait for it to hit EA Play and Game Pass. I mean, it's a new IP. I bought it. I already, I got my discount through, EA. I'm excited to it, but I just don't know. I just don't know when I'm gonna have time. Like I haven't right now. I don't want to really get into anything. So I went back to Jedi Survivor, which I waited for them to fix. I'm like 10 hours in. And Hogwarts, I just hit level 34 and I'm almost done with that. So I'd like to finish those two. I cannot see me adding anything else. It's just not enough hands to play games. Captain Chats drops a very generous £5 super chat and says, big shout out to everyone from rainy England in the garage rebuilding my PC while listening. Well, dude, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully we don't say anything that makes you laugh and You do something to your building PC. Good on you. You can build a PC. I could never. That's why I have a ROG Ally. I simply like to plug and play, which is why I don't have a Steam Deck. Because like Ham Solo, he said he had to do a lot. I tried to set up Game Pass on my Steam Deck, and I was like, "Yep, this is just way over my head. I'm not a PC guy." So I failed and I sold it. We have Adney Angard drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "I would love Indiana Jones to have action, temples, and puzzles that the recent Tomb Raider games lacked." Yeah, I think you're going to get a lot of puzzles because that's what he does. I think there is going to be action. I don't know if this is going to be like a you just play Indiana Jones and he's great as he is, or are you going to upgrade him in some way, like RPG style. But Ham Solo. Come on, let's talk about. I may have lost my train of thought.
Indiana Jones.
Yes, thank you, sir. Let's. Yeah, I know. I'm
Indiana Jones versus Lena Khan.
Oh well, yeah, dude.
There you go.
It's. I hate. That's why I hate going back and forth because it's crazy. But for you, look, Indiana. This is a big get. Let's not make a mistake here. This is, and I'm not saying that Indy is better than Spider-Man or Spider-Man is better than Indy. Spider-Man's a huge draw for PlayStation, and 2 is going to be dope. There is just no doubt about it. It's Insomniac. It's the saga with the Symbionite, Venom. It's Kraven. I understand some people are like, "Oh, you're Boom. I don't want to chase pigeons." It's the same thing as before. You know what? Then don't buy the game. I'm all in on chasing pigeons, right?
Yeah.
But I think
don't like it, don't buy it. No one's
I think there is something to be said about getting Indiana Jones locked up as an exclusive. For you as a gamer, how do you want this viewpoint? Do you want a combination? Do you want your choice? Do you think it all needs to be third or all first person?
I really like what Wilmy said with the first and third, just thinking about how, there is ZeniMax Studios. So like possibly they could be working with other studios within that same group on said option. But if there is not option between the two, the one I would choose would be third person for Indiana Jones. It just makes sense. It's a movie character. You want to see the character as much as possible. It's also working in tandem with a movie. And I mean, look how great Spider-Man's doing. It's not just because of the movie or just because of the video game or just because of the lore behind it. It's the combination of the three coming together and constantly being around. I know some people recently were talking about Spider-Man fatigue for playing it on their PlayStation or whatnot, but like at the same time, you may get fatigued, but the general population, the casual gamers and stuff out there are buying it up. They're eating that up. Like, ooh, another Spider-Man, another thing, or another Marvel thing. Like, oh, let's go. It's especially for something that has a popular name as Spider-Man does. So with looking at Indiana Jones, yeah, the movie might not have been that great to come out, and then as well as it being an older crowd that really remembers Indiana Jones, and maybe Indiana Jones took too long of a too long of a break,
kind of like Avatar did.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's just kind of like you come back now, and it's like I always like using this analogy. You hop on a train and you think it's going 100 miles an hour, and then you find out, crap, this train's going 500 miles an hour, and what do I do? Like, how do I get off? Like. How the hell am I gonna like manage this thing? So I really feel like that may be where the IP is, but it's going in a good direction now. They just got a movie out. The video game's something to be worked on. Maybe they continue with the IP down the line. As you were saying with first and third person, I want third person, but with machine games. Like, I don't know. Like, even going back to their super earlier days when they were like, I mean, because like Machine Game was made like from like a few developers from like something like Starbreeze or something, and then they came over and started making all these like Wolfenstein games. And if you think way back, even on Starbreeze, when they were making, I forget what that freaking game's called. Syndicate. When they were working on Syndicate, that was a first-person game. The games that they Wolfenstein, Quake, first-person games. I mean, I really want third-person, but what they're used to is third-person. But I am not going to say that they can't do it, especially. You never know what's up a developer's sleeve. And I learned that this year because you look at Hogwarts Legacy after they made Cars. You look at freaking you look at what's another great example recently?
Well, Horizon, the studio that brought us Killzone from Killzone,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. So yeah. There's Horizon. There's also recently the game that I'm thinking, Fable. Like, what the heck is going on there? Like with Playground, everyone was saying, "Oh, this is a car game. They shouldn't get out of their lane," and then they get out of their lane, and we get that. So, I mean, like, I wouldn't want to sell these guys short at all. I think it's totally possible to get a third-person game, and that's what I'm really hoping for because. I mean, when you're Nathan Drake, you want to see Nathan Drake. You know,
indeed.
When you're Laura Croft, for the love of it all, you want to see Laura Croft. You know, right. You do. If it was first person Laura Croft, that game would lose a ton of that like energy that you feel, right? You know what I'm saying? But anyways. Yeah, it just has to be third person just for the fact that you need to see Indiana Jones. You need to connect with that guy. If you have the side characters, it'd be great to see them and you guys all running together and stuff like that instead of having to look to the side and see where your character, where your guys are and stuff like that. It'd just be more impactful, in my opinion.
I agree. I think just seeing what Indiana Jones would look like in potentially a big room with puzzles and traps and things of that nature, I think it hits differently when you do it from a cinematic point of view, like you would with like a God of War. Like anytime you walked into a room with Kratos and the new way they're telling the story, and you're in front of this vast room and you're just overlooking it. You look at it in awe. So, I mean, if you want to give a cinematic, which is really what Indiana Jones is, like every shot in Indiana Jones, especially in the early films, are cinematic presence that you open up as you watch the film, and each room is different. The lighting is different. Like, for instance, when we first met Indiana Jones and he's sitting there like this, trying to decide how he's going to take the gold statue. It's brown and it's dark and it's shaded, but you could really see the gold statue there. And you see him in his classic Indiana Jones outfit. You see him. That's what I hope that we get is this cinematic experience told through a game through third person, because I really want to see my Indiana Jones. I want to see him climbing rocks. I want to see him whipping across a cavern, or fighting bad guys, shooting. It's going to be very interesting. Crispy Bomb, let's get your hot take on this, man. Where do you fall on third person versus first person? Because obviously, you play a lot of Gears, and Gears is all third person, and they tell pretty incredible stories. When you consider the backdrop of Indiana Jones, there's something to be told here.
I mean, you got to have it at least in third person. I would like both. I would like every game to have that option. Maybe one day my pipe dream will come true because, half the time, like I get turned off, and I've explained this before because I'm basically blind in my right eye. It is harder for me to play first person because I basically lose the right side of the screen, and I have to one eye cannot do the job of both in certain instances. That's why third person has always been much more up my alley because I feel like I get a better viewpoint. So I mean, that option, that's why, you say, Machine Games, they always have done mostly first person. That is always a cautionary tale, though, as we've seen. We have to look at it and say they probably want to try to do something different. I mean, let's be honest, just being Indiana Jones alone is different from what they make. You know what I'm saying? So you have to look at it and say, how are you going to present these set pieces? And we obviously think this game is going to be very visually stunning, at least a strong attempt at that. So how do you present that? I mean, to be logical, it should be in at least third person. But like I said, first and third, I mean, I'm all for that all the time.
Yeah, you know what? And I think what could potentially sorry about that. I think what would be a great thing for people, for gamers, is choice, right? Who here on the panel and in the chat is going to play Starfield exclusively in third person? Because I'm playing in third person. I'm not playing in first person. I don't want to play. I want to see my character because of the upgrades, because of the suits, because I like the view of that better. So I think that if there is, depending on what story they're looking to tell and how Machine Games is going to tell the story, maybe you have a choice. Maybe we can pick between the two, which would be kind of dope, to be honest with you. But again, being someone who is a stand for story driven, who's a big, and that's the thing. I'm a big fan of Sony first party games because they give me, as a selfish gamer who likes just putting on the headphones and getting invested in the character that I'm using, right? Aloy from Horizon, Kratos, or Nathan Drake, or Spider-Man, when you play on Last of Us, whether you're using Joel or Ellie, right? I like looking at the character. I like that character's story being told to me in a way that's movie-like, which is what Sony does super really good. I'm hoping, and again, I hope I'm not offending any of the first person fans out there. I hope there isn't an option. I hope that this is for a third person, and it tells this amazing new story for a franchise that's as old as many people are going to be playing it, maybe even older. Fuzzy Belvedere, let's get your hot take on this, man. Where do you kind of fall? Third person, first person? You don't care? Does it matter?
For me, I prefer third person, kind of like what Wilmy was saying with Starfield. But I'll even go into one game that I played a lot, haven't touched in a while though, would be Ghost Recon Wildlands. That was
Great
all
game.
third person until you went to aim down sights, and then it would go first person. But something along those lines, I would be all for. When you get behind cover, if you're trying to sneak up on somebody, having it in third person, since it's not a multiplayer, doesn't give you an advantage or anything like it would in a multiplayer game. But, since it's going to be a single player story driven type of game, third person would be my preference. But having the option for both would be pretty cool. Not sure if you're going to have to do too much sniping or if you're going to have to aim down sights too often. But I can't imagine using a whip in first person. That might come across a little weird. But I'm all for third person for this game. But having an option for both, if Starfield can find a way to do both, I'm hoping whatever tech or things they've learned from that can be handed over to Machine Games as well, so they can try it as well for those that want to do first person as well. I mean, I'm all for all games having both options. Even look at Grand Theft Auto. I'm more a fan of third person for Grand Theft Auto 5, but the first person option when they added it was pretty cool, especially from the driving standpoint. Steal a car, crash it into something, get out the car, throw the person out of the other car, get into another car in first person was kind of wild. But yeah, I'm probably going to play both Starfield and, fingers crossed, hopefully Indiana Jones in third person primarily.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Like I said, choice is always good for me personally. I would pick, if I had a choice, I'd pick it. Dave, listen, you're a fan of Indiana Jones, no doubt about it. This was great news for Xbox, getting this as an exclusive, because if you remember, there were a lot of people downplaying, there's no way LucasArts is going to let that game be exclusive. And of course, we all came to the defense of why not, because Spider-Man's exclusive. Why, what would be the problem? And here we are, Indiana Jones, Machine Games, a studio known for very gory first-person shooters and kind of like playground games. And I'm glad Ham Solo brought this up. It's pretty interesting that he did, where we went from, hey, they made Forza Horizon 5, which is one of the greatest racers of all time, and now they're making a Fable, which we saw gameplay. You saw what it looks like in third person. We were like, holy, I can't believe what I'm seeing. It would be pretty cool for Machine Games to deliver something that's a little out of their wheelhouse, specifically in the way they tell their stories for third person. What mode are you hoping for?
Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? I'm excited for it, man. Yeah. Third person to me would feel like the right play, with maybe some first person elements to it, depending on what you're doing. Or it could just be just the opposite, like first person, and then there'd be some elements to it where, depending on what you're doing, riding a motorbike or jumping on in a car or horse, it switched to third person kind of thing. Those are possibilities. But if it was like I'd love for it to be a choice. You got spoiled to Elder Scrolls Online with the option, and then now it's a continuation that they're doing at Bethesda. With Starfield making it the choice, and to me, the third person, I want to see the character. I want to get involved. I want to get behind it. You know what I mean? There's it just depends on how they want to do it. I'll play it either way.
Yeah,
because it's going to be.
Well, we're fans of the character, so of course I think we're going to play it anyway. Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, it's exciting though. It really is. I mean, there's so much that they can do with this game. I mean, if you think about, the whole thing that Lucas set it up for, it is a serial based adventure, franchise, and there's so many stories to tell and so many quote unquote archaeological obviously the Holy Grail and all the things that they've touched on, but I mean there's so many other things that they could go after to complete these missions and stories and just really make it rich with history and all over the world. I mean, the settings for this are boundless.
Yes.
So that's the thing. We could be in the jungle or a desert or a or urban landscape where you have to go through and somebody's hidden the documents or whatever, and you have to try and uncover. I mean, it's there's so much to it. That's what excites me, is that they have so much possibility, and I feel like the team that's working on it is the right people to do it. I think that they're with their experience and Lucas is really behind it. And Microsoft, when they went to him and said, "Hey, look, we want to make it this way, and we want to make it an exclusive," and obviously they like what they're putting down because they agreed to it. If they didn't, they wouldn't have.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Dave. Fantastic point.
So I'm excited for it. I know you are too.
Well, I mean, what's interesting, and I want to kind of just touch on that before we get into what's going on with the FTC versus Microsoft and Activision and Lena Khan versus the world. We got some new information from Florian, who's putting out some detailed info on regards to why it is an incredibly uphill battle for the FTC to get this stay. I think that, obviously for Machine Games to be allowed to tell this story, they had to show LucasArts, who's working hand in hand with them. Hey, this is the story we want to tell. What do you think? And it was approved. It was approved by LucasArts. That yes, you can tell that story. It's not going to be a gory game. I don't think you're going to see blood, flying all over the place. I think you're going to see, him getting into scuffles, potentially getting into some fisticuffs, shooting a couple of people. It would be interesting to see how they do the gunplay, because obviously we've only ever seen Indiana Jones use a sidearm. We've never seen him use like a rocket launcher, right? Or a grenade launcher. I would imagine it is going to be set somewhere in the 40s or 50s. So there's going to be limitations to the weaponry. I would imagine I'd love to see him, what he looks like and how he, how the world reacts to him having a shotgun. Like I'm super stoked for this because, like I said, it's from a studio that is only known for specifically a very gory game. And it's funny because they're doing a game potentially. Some of the people that Indy might be going up against are going to be Nazis, which they're known for through Wolfenstein. And it's going to be it. I'm very excited because, like I said, if this game hits, gentlemen and chat, what we could be seeing, and this is where the excitement comes from, is this being an IP that not only gets multiple sequels, but is telling this long tale, these new adventures of Indiana Jones that have only been told in comics and books, and of course, film. Now we're going to get video game adaptations of them where they're limitless on how they can tell these stories. And this very well could be for Microsoft and for Xbox and its gamers, our version of Uncharted. And that, to me, is very exciting. But first of all, let me catch up on a few of the super chats that have popped in here. And we're going to get into this FTC situation because there's a lot of uncertainty with the community. The same, and I don't like using the P word, so I'm not going to say that. I don't like when people say Xbots either. I'm not a fan of derogatory terms. It's just not my thing. I saw like when the announcement came this week, that the deal was not going to, the injunction was not granted. We all took our victory laps, right? Like everyone was like, yay, we did it, right? And everyone was riding high. And Twitter was actually kind of a nice place because most of the trolls kind of stayed away. People even deleted their accounts, which is a little excessive in my opinion, but it is what it is. They give the smoke, but they can't take the smoke. Fine. But with that said, now that we saw that they were going to do this appeal, they came back and they came back even stronger. Even some of the journalists. And I'm not gonna send. I refuse to give you guys the link because I'm not giving Kotaku any credit whatsoever. They're a bunch of dirtbags over there. Kotaku is comparable to like the Inquirer and the Star at your grocery store, where it was like James Bond bangs mom and alien pops out. That's how as good as Kotaku's writing is. And I'm actually insulting the Sun and the Inquirer.
You are
National
actually,
Enquirer. Yeah. So Kotaku.
Where's that article at, Boom? I gotta look that up.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. Basically, the article said, Microsoft and Xbox gamers getting angry at the FTC for doing their job. That was the headline. I wouldn't click on it because I wrote something very nefarious in a professional manner, as you would expect Boom to do. And it got a lot of traction because it's the truth. They are a rag mag. They're embarrassing. And the fact that anyone signed off on that is simply because they're desperate. Desperation for Kotaku because it probably shouldn't even exist. All their supposed good writers have left. There might be one or two good writers there. I honestly don't know, but I know that they're just garbage. They're hot garbage. But we're going to get into the FTC momentarily. We have two super chats that popped in here. One from Highlander 001, an additional, very generous $10 super chat. It says, morning Boom and panel. The three judges are hearing the appeal. That's all they do is hear appeals for the Ninth Circuit. I tried to find the Bloomberg article, but could not as I was busy. Okay, so thank you so much for the clarification. So, okay, so these 3 judges are the same judges. They are, and like I said, it goes in line with what I heard. 2 of them are Republicans, one of them are Democrat. I don't think that really matters at this point because I think that I don't think it makes sense to block a $70 billion deal that for the FTC that already lost because one of their own judges in the Ninth Circuit found that they did not give a good case. So like I said, it is a daunting request from the FTC, which I think they're going to lose. And I think once they lose, I think someone in government, someone in higher government with more power than the FTC needs to do something to have Lena Khan removed. And I think that the investigation into collusion with the CMA needs to be opened up, and they need to hit the pedal to the metal. And if she did collude with a foreign country to block 2 American companies from merging, she should probably go to jail. And if she committed a crime, I'm not going to feel sorry for her for going to jail because, well, if I committed a crime, then I should go to jail.
Yeah, but
and that's
you're not
just
a
the
rich
way.
politician. That's the difference. Politicians
Yeah,
don't go to
that is
jail.
true. That is true. I'm a nobody, and she's a rich politician. You are correct in saying so. Mendingo McThickens drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Boom! I finished Tomb Raider." Okay, here we go. Slander. Running backwards while zoomed in. Giggity, giggity. I would imagine that you're seeing her lady lumps, if you will. I will say that. But listen, that's good. Thank you so much, Mandingo, for the super chat and, of course, the laugh. Okay, so I have Florian. He just posted this 50 minutes ago. And again, this just really just gives an overview of the daunting request from the FTC. He says this, folks. Again, Florian Muller, nearly 36,000 followers. This dude exploded on the scene. I had Florian on twice, gentlemen, and he is, when I say smart, like people get, attacked him for some of his things he had to say. Trust me when I tell you, that dude's the smartest guy in the room. And he doesn't flaunt it. He doesn't make you feel silly or stupid. He just knows his business, and I really do like the guy a lot.
And
I hope
to
to
say
have
it
him
like
on.
it is, man. He just seems to say it like it is. Like a straight
absolutely.
Shooter.
Yeah, yes, and sometimes people don't like that, Ham. So, Ham, I'm going to go to you first. This is what Florian had to say. He says 50 plus years since the last vertical merger was blocked in the United States under the FTC Act. 40 countries have now cleared Microsoft to purchase Activision Blizzard. And he says less than 18 hours left for the TRO to be the temporary restraining order to be issued, which would be the stay. And the Ninth Circuit is the final boss. I mean, and obviously, you, like many of us, Ham, have been keeping your ear to the floor. You've been keeping your eye on what is happening because this affects you not only as a content creator, because you're going to talk about it on your shows, but as a consumer. And obviously, our consumerisms should be at the front of this whole conversation because we are ultimately will be affected. Based on what you've seen, how daunting of a task do you think it is for the FTC after legitimately losing by a judge that they picked? And that's something else a lot of people don't understand. Microsoft, Ham, wanted this case done in Washington, D.C., and they said no. FTC requested it to be done in San Francisco and requested Judge Corley. They literally requested her, got her, did a terrible piss poor job of selling their lie, lost legitimately, and now they're having hard feelings. How daunting of a task you think it is for the FTC to actually win this, the stay to block the deal?
Imagine me coming up to you, Boom, saying, "You know what? I want to play you in a game of basketball." I'm gonna thrash you. And then and you're like, whoa, bro, I didn't do anything. What's wrong? And I'm just like, yo, all right, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna meet up at the Rucker. I'm gonna tell you to go to the Rucker. All right? That's your home. I'm walking in your home and telling you I'm gonna go into the Rucker and I'm gonna wreck you. And then I go over there and I get dunked on 7 or 8 times. I lose. And then I come out like one more game. You're gonna say, nah, man. I beat you. It's over. Stop. You brought your butt all the way from Iowa. You took your butt all the way from Iowa to New York in my house and tried to tell me to go away. Nah, bruh. That's not how it works. I mean, that's really the way I'm looking at this. I'm just like, dude, how are you butting your nose into something with no argument? You take an L, a catastrophic one. And then on top of that, you're getting yelled at by Congress.
Which, by the way, that was brutal, dude. Like they eviscerated her live on the air because I watched it. It was bad.
It was tragic. Watching that, I like that was one of those moments where I'm just like, is she crying? Like it looked that type of rough, where it's just like, man, just dang, y'all going after her, like telling her that she messed up her reputation. You out here consulting without a license. Why are you trying to pretend to be a lawyer? Like, oh man, I was just like, Lord, not only did you lose your case, not only did you lose like all of your cases, but now you're getting pushed. And in the middle of getting pushed, you're like, I'm gonna try to push back. Nah, bro. Stop. All these people, I even seen Mike Ybarra on Twitter. And he was like, bro, our tax dollars. That's all he said was our tax dollars. And that was just like tragic. You know, it's bad when you got Mike Ybarra coming out.
Yeah, well, he's usually very reserved. He doesn't really say much on social media, right? So he was obviously, I mean,
he's all about the game. He's
yes.
all about the game on social media. So it's weird to see somebody in that position where all he's talking about is Diablo right now. Oh, I'm platinuming it. Oh, I just beat it here. I'm mostly a PC player. I'm going to go now. I'm going to 100% it on Xbox. And then out of nowhere comes a tweet talking about this is where your tax dollar is going. And everybody knows what he's talking about. And Indeed. It's just like, it's insane. Like I was hearing on a podcast, I believe it was yesterday, that somebody was like, bro, like my family members are asking about this deal in video games. Like people that had no idea about, like Lena Khan is making herself and the FTC look crazy to the point that people aren't even in gaming are just like, what is she doing? Goodness gracious. Like this came out of nowhere. And I mean, imagine being like in your 60, like mid 60s or 70s watching like freaking Fox News and you see video game coverage and you're just like, what the heck does this have to do with the government? And then you look into it and you're like, why is the government getting cooked by a video game company? Like, what's happening here? What happened in the world? And then you look behind the scene and see what the heck they're doing. And it's like, wait, they're not helping anybody by doing this right now. They're wasting my money. So it's just a fail on top of a fail. So when you ask me, how do I look at this for the defense for like Lena Khan and them, or like the trajectory for them on this, it looks grim. It looks really grim. I mean, if yesterday didn't tell you enough, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, yeah. And again, look, I would be the first one to say, because like I said, I have a very high moral compass, folks. Maybe, you know, my faith in humanity, maybe it's going to be my end. I say that jokingly to Mrs. Boom all the time. I do have a significant amount of faith in humanity. I have a huge amount of respect and integrity as a person, as a man, because of my dad. Obviously, I did that while I was in the military. I did that while I was a New York City police officer. Integrity, number one. Honor, like the neck and neck, man. If you don't have those, you don't got boom. So when I see this kind of nonsense going on from government officials like Lena Khan, I take it personally. I think it's gross. I think it's disgusting that our country is on display in this way. You know, that we are seeing that she is literally using loopholes and stall tactics to time out a deal that's literally great for consumers, great for competition, which she's supposed to be representing us. And she's not. And she's colluding with other foreign countries, i.e., the UK, to protect Sony, who has a market dominance unlike anybody else in gaming. Even Nintendo, they're there, but they're not at Sony level. So it's crazy to me. I want to give the mic over to Wilmy Hood because he has a lot to say on this. Wilmy, look, obviously, you know, you're a military guy like myself. You served for many, many years, combat veteran, and obviously a tremendous podcaster. You do this for fun. You have fun when you're on your show. And obviously, for the last 20 months, we've been talking ABK. It is the biggest deal in tech history. There's a lot writing on this for Activision. I think there's more writing on it for Microsoft as a company on how they're going to use this to their advantage to take chances on games where they have so much money coming in. But I think that ultimately the human element, which a lot of people don't talk about, is the folks at Activision, Blizzard, and King who were under a leader who failed them. Bobby Kotick failed his employees as a leader, allowing for so many egregious things to happen. And they were sold this ideology from Microsoft. Hey, we're going to buy you and we're going to make working for these companies the best it's ever been because we're Microsoft. So the human element aspect is there. Unions being recognized for the first time in gaming history, right? Big deal. You're a union guy as well. Let's get your take on what happened yesterday at what was basically Lena Khan eviscerated, and the fact that the smoke screen, ultimately, this is where it gets really ugly, is the only reason why she appealed is so she wouldn't have to answer the daunting questions from Congress about her shenanigans with the ABK deal.
I'm pretty sure that's the only reason she tried to file an appeal. Is so
that's what they're saying. Even some of the biggest newspapers are reporting that's why she did it.
Oh, it's definitely why she did it. Because I mean, her track record, they made her yesterday look. I mean, not even talking just about ABK, the whole issue with Twitter, her and Elon Musk. The guy said you seem obsessed, and he even called her creepy at one point. I mean, this lady, to me, I thought the entire thing was hilarious because you're taking the FTC, which is based here in the U.S., sadly, and they were defending a company based in Japan. And if you've listened to any of this, that was her intent. It was never about a consumer, not any of her complaints. They were never about consumers. Everything was about Sony. And the bad part of it is she had no clue about what she was talking about anyway. None. I mean, that would be like me going out and calling you up and go, hey, Boom, let's start an electrical business together tomorrow. Well, guess what, Wilmy? I have never done electrical. Me either, but we can make it work. That's the same principle because this woman is just clueless. All of them are. And in my opinion, your government should not be in your video games to begin with. It's a hobby. And Bobby Kotick, whatever his name is, the dude's already proved his ass needs to go. This guy is terrible. Look at some of the stuff he's done. When this merger is is finished and the paperwork's done, I hope he is the very first person to go.
Yep.
And like yesterday, Spider-Man just said it in the chat. I was getting ready to say this myself. She was blaming her staff.
Like a coward, what a coward would do. I mean, you're the head. That's why the guy said, "Shame on you." Like, how dare you come here? You throw your people under the bus and be like, "But you're sitting in the chair."
Yeah, you don't. A leader does not blame the people under them. A leader takes that responsibility themselves.
Wilmy, you're a veteran. You already know. You already know that the way she was using her terms, the team or the team. It wasn't. It was never we. It was never we. It was the team did that. The team did this. She never took any responsibility.
And like the one disposition she had filed yesterday and claimed she didn't even know existed. I mean, the woman is out of control. They need her to just be gone. And it's not even about just ABK at this point. She has proven that she's unfit. And I mean, it's two American companies. This is good for consumers, right? What's the downside of this? Jim Ryan doesn't get what he wants. Okay, well, guess what? That's life. You move on. That's what happens when you own a business. I own my own company. I don't get breaks. I guarantee you she's not going to, do anything for me anytime soon. But she just needs to go. And I've seen last night, the same judge had already denied her appeal. That was actually being posted late last night. They've already denied the appeal. And
that was Judge Corley. They went because the way it works is they had to go back to the judge that they lost to, and of course Judge Corley denied it. So now it's in front of the three judges at the Ninth Circuit that are going to hear this appeal.
Yeah, and you've got people claiming, oh, well, she shouldn't be allowed to say anything as her son works at Microsoft. Okay, what's that got to do with anything? I don't know, dude. It's just like, if you listen to this woman talk, I don't know, it kind of makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up a little bit.
Yeah.
And
she's talking from a standpoint of defeat.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like Ham said, you're done. At this point, give it up, lick your wounds, and move on to the next thing. That's what you need to do at this point. You've already lost. Evidently, the CMA's thinking she's pretty much lost. But I do find it funny, out of how many countries, 40, have approved this deal with
40 countries in total. Yeah.
With no issues, no nothing.
Most of which with no concessions, by the way, Wilmy Hood.
Exactly. And now all of a sudden the UK had an issue with it. And I was even joking around on my podcast. When the CMA came out with these issues, I'm like, watch, the FTC is going to exactly mirror the CMA. And they did. And that's the only two places that's had an issue. And I mean, let's face it, just like you, I've got listeners in the UK and in the US. But the thing is, both of our countries, our governments suck for both of us. And I'm not really overly shocked that she pulled this stunt. And I know people say, well, that's what her job is. But this goes beyond what her job was. And I think she should just give it up, move on, and maybe actually go get her, her documentation for being an attorney, and maybe find something better to do. I hear Starbucks is hiring.
Indeed they are. And I agree with you. I think you're onto something. I think that there comes a point, Wilmy Hood, where you need to be accountable. You need to be held accountable. I understand she was appointed. I understand that she has papers that give her this law degree. I'm not doubting that she does, render a significant intelligence, even like over someone like me, because obviously she's a very smart woman. But with all of that said, ladies and gentlemen, that does not take away from the fact that she is wrong. And there is a reason why there's an open investigation against her for abuse of authority, abuse of power. She is, first of all, I'm going to say this, and I'm not taking it back. She is unqualified for the position that she is in. There is no doubt about it. It went well over her head, simply because she had a thesis, folks, where it was based on Amazon's prices being too cheap. That is what her paper was on. I don't know if it was that specific paper that got her through the door, but this was a bad pick from Biden. She did not have the experience. She's coming from a classroom, ladies and gentlemen. And not that the classroom professors aren't smart. Of course they're smart. They're professors. But that doesn't mean that she was qualified for this position.
Exactly.
And she has proven it, Wilmy, time after time after time. And she keeps losing. And when she said publicly, well, I don't care if we lose cases, I'll just sue. That should have been
That's
stopped
a good indication
right
there.
Yep.
But I did think it was funny that she asked for a 37% increase and they dropped it 25%.
Indeed.
That's insane.
That tells you a little something right off the jump.
Yeah, it does. It's again, we need 33% more increase. Sorry. They said as of today, your budget's getting cut by 25%. That's a big deal.
That's a savage move.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fourth of your operation. That's it.
Yeah. No, I mean, good stuff with me as well. I expected no less. Crispy, I want to go to you next on this because I know you're just going to be as spicy. Now, what we are supposed to believe as American taxpayers, right? We're supposed to have faith and trust that the FTC is going to do their job. Can we have that confidence in Lena Khan, who, by the way, and I have the paperwork right in front of me. It is from the New York State Unified Court Systems. Lena Khan, who graduated from the Columbia Law School, apparently, as of 7/13/2023, and this was brought up during the thrashing that happened at Capitol Hill yesterday. Her registration status as an attorney is delinquent.
Yeah. Boom.
Are we supposed to have confidence in the head of the FTC to make fair and pointed decisions that are going to really affect millions of consumers, but potentially hundreds, thousands of workers who are going to benefit from Microsoft taking over from Activision? Are we supposed to have that kind of confidence?
No, we're not. And I'm sorry, but I have to register a vehicle, I have to pay my taxes, all these things. I also have to renew qualifications with my work, as far as health and safety, health and food safety. If I don't do that, then they don't want me in that job. Okay. And you are supposed to be part of this regulatory body that's supposed to litigate and build cases, yet you don't care to continue your education, as they call it, being a lawyer, and that requires that registration. Now, I am assuming it costs some kind of money, but I don't think she has any issues with that. I'm sorry. It doesn't look that way, especially when you get raked over the coals by Congress and then decide to, because keep in mind, many of that questioning had to do with the APK deal, and decide to appeal it right in front of them, basically, and after you got a decrease in budget. Explain the logic to me. The only logical explanation is so she doesn't have to talk about it. So I am not only, now a lot of people are like, oh, if they say nothing, they can close it at 12:01. Okay. No, I want them to deny the appeal so then Congress can bring her back in front so she can answer for where the heck our tax dollars have been going, and what is your actual premise for fighting this battle that seemed winless for the entire time. Explain this to me. The woman should be either impeached or fired by the president. One
Indeed.
or the two. Okay. And we're not talking about just Republicans raking her over the coals. I saw some Democrats really sitting there like, this ain't good. Okay. This is not what we want to do here. And I am sorry, but there was a good 6-month period. And keep in mind, you look at your bills, your actual bills, stuff that you actually need, electricity, even cable. That's an entertainment part that now is almost a necessity, or internet. You could lump the two in. Okay. And, it doesn't cost any more to deliver. And actually, the only citing is the fact that usually they'll be like, oh, well, we had a bad storm year, so we have to raise our rates. Okay, I get it. That didn't happen. Not at least in my state. So why are you going after a gaming company merging with another gaming company, which affects an entertainment that is only growing, but it's not even close to the necessities that I've seen just destroy us in our wallets? How about the amount of gas we paid? Like, you have poor people in California paying $6 a gallon. I mean, come on, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I look at a regulatory body and I say, why are you worried about this so much? I get it's big bad Microsoft. Well, you didn't stop Amazon. You didn't stop Disney. Okay, what's the problem here? And it just seems like this tirade of maybe she just doesn't like Microsoft in general. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's the thing. Maybe it's the fact that it seems like their entire case was built by Sony and it was a bad case to begin with. And it's basically what we read time and time again, just worded differently. It is a waste of time. And it is getting to the point where I wasn't like saying, hey, get rid of her like completely. Now I'm saying she got to go, because nothing logical or more valuable to us consumers is going to happen until she's gone. And that's the problem. Okay. Right now, I feel like the FTC is just worried about big tech going and buying big tech. And that's not really affecting us. And Microsoft said it best. Their entire argument is about, taking away from Sony and all these other companies, but they have never once cited the consumer. It's a benefit to the consumer, and that's why they never.
Something,
it.
Crispy. I want to make mention of this.
Shut the door.
Yeah, I want to make mention of this to add to what you just said.
That's the way.
It's incredibly important. Yeah, no. Check this out, Crispy. On the actual presented paperwork after the hearing, Crispy, right? In the write-up, they said, and I quote, "We have real concerns for Sony Interactive Entertainment, Google, and Amazon." Now, this is to me, this is lunacy. Like, this is what you're submitting. You just said it, Crispy. Where is the talk of the people? And you constantly bring this up. Where is all of this litigation and finite points with the gas companies and the cable companies and the internet providers, that if we're in an area that has one or two, we are getting raked over the coals? You say that all the time, Crispy.
And they continue to allow it to happen. It's been happening my entire life, and it's driving me crazy. Okay, you need somebody in there that has proactive ideals, that says, you know what? Let's help the consumer more than anyone. Let's help the middle-class family that actually needs help. Okay, you are a regulatory body. You oversee just about everything that has to do with any mergers, acquisitions. I have seen AT&T. We brought it up before, the T-Mobile thing. Okay, T-Mobile's bought up all of these companies and nobody said a darn word. Now, granted, T-Mobile hasn't done anything for me to say, oh, you are a terrible, terrible company, because they haven't raised my rates or nothing for the most part. But they do find those little finite little details that they want you to read that you don't read, and they throw it in there at the back end, okay? But nobody bats an eye. And when a company's actually saying, look, we're going to help the gamer, we're going to have more and more gamers, and you have all these other countries, how bad do we look right now that you are defending Sony, Google, and Amazon? Are you kidding me?
Ridiculous. Yep.
I rest my case.
Well, listen, you win, sir. That was a fantastic point. I like what you're putting down. It's the truth. When you see their ideology is strictly protecting other big businesses against Microsoft, who's a big business, and there's no mention of the people they're. The FTC exists, yes, to protect competition. But they're, you know what? I'm going to get their mission statement in a second. Fuzzy, let's get your hot take on this. How bad? What do you think that this is ultimately for the FTC? Because some people saying, well, boom, it's a Hail Mary, and sometimes the Hail Mary, depending on who the quarterback is, they can get a touchdown. Listen, there's not going to be a touchdown here. She lost. They lost legitimately. They presented a bad case. They did not do their due diligence. I was in those Zoom calls, lucky enough, all 5 days to listen to it. And the same way Selena Khan got eviscerated yesterday is how their lawyers got eviscerated during the hearing with Judge Corley. That's a fact, folks. That is not even a suggestion. That is what happened, and I heard it. What do you think, man? Which way does this go?
Oh, it's already been decided. Activision's getting delisted on Monday. The only reason why you do that is because your company's acquired or it went bankrupt. So the acquisition is happening. They'll have to fight it out in court later. I doubt that case will get very far if they even make it to court, but I'm not one to complain about taxpayer dollars being wasted, because there's plenty of stuff that the government does already where we're wasting dollars. But the fact that they were focused more so on one of the competitors in the industry as opposed to the consumer just goes to show where she has already lost her way with the mission statement for the FTC. You're supposed to protect the consumer. It's supposed to be fair.
You know what? I have that in front of me, folks. So while he brought it up, let me read you, ladies and gentlemen, the actual mission statement that I pulled from the FTC themselves. And this is what it says, folks. To prevent business practices that are anti-competitive or deceptive or unfair to consumers, to enhance informed consumer choice and public understanding of the competitive process, and to accomplish this without unduly burdening legitimate business activity. Holy shit, are we serious? This is the mission statement, and none of this has been done during this entire 20-month ordeal. Please take it away.
Yeah, it goes to show that, normally the mission statement is supposed to be your guidance or your way forward as far as how you proceed with things. And it doesn't seem like they've taken the consumer in consideration at all. This is more so an agenda to go against big tech, which she's already verbalized many a times, that's the key piece of this puzzle. And sure, Microsoft in the 90s, yeah, they probably deserved that type of approach or smoke back then, back when, I was about to say Steve Jobs, but back when, what's his name, was basically having
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates was having teams inside the company fight against each other, or see who would survive type of deal. And in a lot of cases, that's how you have to run business to grow the business. But there were some things that they kind of, overstepped their bounds with, forcing you to take, Internet Explorer with Windows and not giving you much choice. And since then, they've backed away from that approach. Government regulation kind of stepped in to kind of convince them that was not the right way of doing business. Now, since then, they've taken that not really hands-off approach, but the approach where we have to keep the consumer in mind. Like, they voluntarily came up with the system in place so that way you can unsubscribe from reoccurring payments on some of their subscription services before the FTC had to step in, because they knew some of the talk in the background was about that. And that's one of those cases of consumer protection. But when you have something that's going to add to an option, which is not even the leading option within that industry as far as a consumer-friendly feature or consumer-friendly approach or easier entry into the market, I don't understand where the problem is. the subscription services are prevalent in almost every industry, whether you want to look at streaming music, streaming TV, even streaming software to some extent. Well, not really streaming, but like I use Adobe, the Adobe Suite, where it used to be like $1,500 to buy it every year or every couple of years. Well, to avoid from people buying, I guess, bootleg copies or illegally downloading it, they came up with a subscription model that makes it so you basically have to do the reoccurring thing, which isn't so bad in the grand scheme of things. But, having that as an option as opposed to other software that you can go out there and buy outright is an option. And we should welcome those options because options breed more competition within that market. This is another case of that. And unfortunately, the FTC decided, because it's Microsoft, and because they're a $1 trillion company, this has to be bad. Even though nobody can find any, inklings of where it could be bad, this has to be bad. We're going to try to prove it in court, even though we have no evidence. And our experts are coming up with magical figures out of the blue where even their own models are based on hypothetical things that are only based on like at the 50% threshold. So it's like, I don't know. I applaud, the members of Congress that grilled her yesterday in reference to where a lot of her guidance or approach was as far as, all these cases that they've been losing. And like Wilmy and like Ham Solo said earlier, if you're the head of if you're the top chief or you're sitting in the top chair and your team is the ones doing that, then is your team rogue or did you give them the order to do that? Typically, orders are disseminated down from the top. So obviously you either were aware of it or were the one that made that call. So if you're going to claim that it's your team doing this, then why do we even need you? Just let that rogue team run rampant, get you out the door and get somebody in there that's going to ring them in. And that would be, the ideal situation. I hope this administration looks at this and sees this as a liability before the next election. I don't care either way how it goes kind of thing. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're going to waste taxpayer dollars, at least waste it on cool things like space telescopes and stuff like that, and not these endless fights on stuff you've already lost and have already been denied as far as your stay on the restraining order or however you want to look at it. Just move on. Like there's so many other things, like Crispy said, the cable companies, the phone companies. There's infinite amount of things that the consumer needs to be protected in, or needs some intervention as far as government to help make it so it's not as rampant as far as like when it comes to things like privacy. Like our phones are spying on us. They listen or take pictures of you or whatever. And I know that sounds like tinfoil hat stuff, but there are so many other things that they can look at as far as privacy.
Dude, there's potential collusion here, dude. That's nothing tinfoil hat about it. She colluded with the with the CMA. That's a fact that's going to come out in this investigation.
And even the CMA is now walking things back because they at least they're smart enough to see the writing on the wall. And I'm not saying Lena Khan is stupid, but smart people do stupid things at times. And this is a pure case of that. It's like play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And I guess she'll find out when her political career or her aspirations for a political career go pretty much into the toilet. And I'm happy that I hate when people get, I hate to see people get fired or whatever, but this is a case where it's almost a necessity and it should happen sooner rather than later. Just for the fact that it's not what she was tasked to do. If you want to change the laws in Washington, there's other ways of doing that and not.
Well, the legitimate way is you have these laws changed in Congress.
Yeah.
You do not change laws in litigation and try to cherry pick certain situations to benefit your political play or political arrogance, if you will, to change laws. The laws aren't changed in the courts by you litigating something. That's not the way it works.
Exactly. But yeah, that's all I have on it. It's just
like I said, dude, Starbucks is hiring. She'd be a good fit.
Yeah.
No, I'd be afraid because it's like you tell her, 2 creams, 4 sugars, and she'd be like, "Well, sugar's bad for you." I don't believe.
I'm not giving you sugar. Yeah, I'm giving you Splenda
in there. Like, what? Get out of here, lady. Just, I don't know.
She's looking out for you then, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
what it
Well,
is?
listen,
Yeah.
as we continue, because obviously we have 800 people here, so a big thank you to that many people here on a Friday morning. Hopefully you're enjoying the show enough to hit the like button. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, please help get us to 15K. We hit 13K live this week on Primetime Gaming. It was pretty epic. We also broke records that we've never broken before. We had over 1,800 people in the chat on one of the earlier shows. It's unbelievable. But big, again, thank you to the community for the constant support. Dave, I want to get your hot take on this, dude. Obviously, you've heard everyone else, but I'm always interested to get your pointed view on how this is going to turn out for Lena Khan, because you have been one of the steadfast polls holding up this thing about deal is going through. There's nothing wrong with the deal. You're obviously in banking. Where do you think that the judges are going to vote on this?
Chaka Khan.
Yeah. Well, let's just say that she's, I'm not going to get into anything political. We're not going to do that. We're just not going to do that. But she is definitely on a mission because that's her mandate, and that's what she's going to keep pushing because that's what she is required to do to keep her job. Biden can remove her, or Congress can impeach her and then remove her. Those are the options. I don't think she's going to resign. I think she's going to keep doing what she's doing because that's why she was brought in. People saying, well, she's young, she's this, she's that. That's why she was brought in. She's doing what she's, she can try and spin it however she needs to justify it. And that's what it is. A lot of spin, like I said, Congress was real adamant about their, about their case against her. And I loved that a lot of it was brought out, and the questions were, the biggest question I thought was awesome. So are you trying to lose as many cases as you can? And she's like, what'd you say? She goes, are you trying to lose as many cases as you can? And she's like, no, sir, blah, 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 blah. She started, and he cut her off, and he's like, well, you've lost 9 in a row, and we have all these other important things that we need you to take care of, that the country needs for you to focus on instead of wasting money, and I'm not saying the FTC doesn't need the money to go after the right thing, but clearly this is a witch hunt, and it is the really big reason that they're doing it is that they are going, they're trying to make a stand, to make a big, a big political statement, and that's all around that part. But that's really what it is. But unfortunately, for them, Microsoft has done the right thing on their end, and accepted unions and supported them in their efforts. So now they backed the deal, and the administration, that's one of their big things is the union support. And the unions are like, we can't follow you on this because they're doing what we want, what they should be doing, and you're not. So he's kind of in a pickle, but he's going to keep pushing, and that's just the way it is. So I don't mean to make it so black and white, but unfortunately, some things are like that. But when it comes back out to gaming, it's better for all of us, and we all know it is. When Jim Ryan actually turned down Bobby Kotick's counter offer, that he said that we will extend the rights that you have now to the exclusivity for several more years, keep that in place, and Bobby still said no.
Jim said no. He said no. I don't want.
What?
I don't want that deal. I just want to block the merger. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like, what?
Yep.
And I heard a rumor, and I don't have anybody to back it up, but it was another podcast I was listening to. I listen to a lot of podcasts, but they were talking about that there's a possibility that maybe Sony is like, they may try and pull out of
Yes.
COD, and then
Yes,
try and
that's
blame
the running. That's the running rumor. As a matter of fact, I'll break it down. Really,
try and blame Microsoft for it. So make them look bad.
Well, I mean, what a rumor is going around. We don't know if this is true. Take it with a grain of salt. Jim Ryan was heard saying that they don't like the idea of having to pay Activision all of this money for marketing when the deal goes through, the game is going to be looked upon as an Xbox game. And they don't feel that it's worth it for them to pay all of these it's millions of dollars for marketing rights to market Call of Duty. The rumor, folks, is that as soon as next week he wants to back out of that deal. And I say let him. Don't even charge him a dime, because what that does ultimately is relinquish publishing rights immediately to Microsoft. And Xbox can then dump Call of Duty 2023 directly into Xbox Game Pass when Sony is no longer a part of the conversation. So if Sony wants to bite their nose off to cut their,
they're peeing in their own. They're peeing in their own like Cheerios right there.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
What are you doing?
Yeah, it sounds dumb. It sounds, but it's Jim Ryan, and
sounds petty.
It's petty. It absolutely is petty. But you know what? At this point, only time we can tell. Real quick before I read the super chats and we get everyone's outros and get in, so you can start your weekend. Florian Muller just posted this. I thought it was important to the conversation we're having. He says, unless the Ninth Circuit makes an highly unusual and unwarranted decision today, the deal will presumably be closed prior to the UK's management conference that has just been announced. This comes the way of Bloomberg quoted a UK lawyer who thinks that they will hold Activision Blizzard separate in the UK until the CMA has their decision. And this comes off of Tom Warren report that the CAT Tribunal has scheduled, and some people just DM'd me with this, so shout out to everyone that did that, has scheduled a case management conference, the third in the case, for Monday, 7/17 at 2:30 p.m. UK time, to consider the application made jointly by all parties to adjourn the proceedings pending further discussions between the CMA and Microsoft. So that is what they would consider an emergency meeting. They will be meeting 2:30 p.m. UK time on Monday. Now, let me just read these last super chats and we will get everyone out of here. Jax82 drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, Lena Khan forgot to phone a friend and she got roasted. Indeed. Of course, Crazy Legs G14 drops a very generous £2 super chat and says, the CAT meeting Monday is 2:30 UK time. Thank you so much for that, Crazy. We also have Gerald Mack drops a very generous $5 super chat. And he says, Lena Khan committed a crime when she posed as a lawyer, and some of the cases that she's been assigned to, she committed a crime there as well. Yeah, if she has, that's big trouble, folks. If she, her thing is delinquent, that means that she doesn't have the right to practice law. She can find herself in a pickle, no doubt about it. Dean Rivera drops a very generous additional $5 super chat and says, she said to one of the senators that, and this is true, folks, I heard this is crazy. She actually said this, and it's recorded, that they've lost a lot, but they've also dragged on cases where the parties involved abandoned their deals. And that's how they got their wins. Are we serious? She actually said that. You see, that is someone that needs to be checked. Because if that is what you're running with and you're confident in saying that even out loud, that's a major problem. Highlander 001 drops an additional $5 super chat. And he says, the CAT has scheduled a Microsoft CMA case management conference on Monday. It will be a half-day meeting, about 4 hours. Thanks so much for that, Highlander. Scott Gamer Dude, just a very generous $5 super chat and says, hey, Boom, do you remember when the FTC separated all the land phone companies in the 70s from AT&T and ended up buying them all back? See, I didn't even remember that, dude. Like, good on you for remember that. Yes, and they actually did do that. And that was a big deal back then. Justin drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, nobody should have a problem with the FTC looking into the merger to make sure things are above board. And I agree. The problem is they came to the 100% wrong conclusion because they didn't know squat about games. Yeah, even their experts were just boobs. They're just knuckleheads. Like, for instance, Dr. Lee, he based his 20% situation that was supposed to be the smoking gun for the FTC. You know what generation he based that on? The 8th generation for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox 360. I mean, the Xbox One. And didn't they also say, folks, that the Switch wasn't Generation 9 and then it was Generation 8, but they didn't include those numbers? It's just ridiculous.
Yep.
Just ridiculous. Highlander 001 drops an additional very generous $5 super chat and says, the president cannot fire the head of the FTC. The Supreme Court ruled on this under the last president. She has rights to be impeached like a judge. Yeah, they'll just impeach her, and they should if she committed treason or collusion, no doubt about it. Scott Gamer Dude drops an additional $5 super chat and says, how much is this? Do you think she's a puppet being controlled by another politician? I don't think so. Her ideology speaks for herself. She is very, very left wing, man. That's just her thing. And I think this is all her, Scott. I honestly believe this is just Lena Khan. And Fantas Archer drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, we could point towards Biden regarding Lena Khan's appointment, but smoke may need to go to Senator Warren for pushing support for this agenda. Yeah, Senator Warren has her own agenda. She's also very rich, by the way. I looked up the kind of money she was making, and she brings in $400,000 per month. Think about that.
She's also very confused.
$400,000 a month. You know what her net worth is as a public servant? $73+ million.
What?
Yeah. She's worth $73 million. That is correct. I looked it up. It's very easy to do. And she, of course, she doesn't care. She doesn't care about unions. She says she might. Of course, she doesn't care about having to pay these Con Ed bills that are, like, for instance, Con Ed bills gone up 20% in the last year. Crispy knows that. We know that here in New Rochelle. My next bill is nearly $400 for an apartment. And what can I do? I have to pay it, right? Because I need my electricity on. And is Lena Khan coming to fight Con Ed for doing a 20% increase in a freaking year? No, nobody said anything. They just keep going. So it's
doing the same thing here, dude.
Yep. There you go. It's a double standard. But with that said, let's get to the outros. We're gonna start first with Ham Solo from TSWS Gaming. Brother, sell your brand. Talk about your podcast. Talk about where they can subscribe and check out your weekly shows, as well as reach out to you on social media.
Yeah, definitely. If you don't mind, I'll put my channel in the chat.
Absolutely, brother. Dump it in there.
We're actually going to be doing a show here in a few hours. I actually got physical therapy that I need to go to do for my back, but we got a show. We're going to be talking about all of this different type of stuff and whatnot. It's going to be a lot of fun. And next week, got a fantastic episode of Behind Them Sticks with Colt Eastwood that's coming on the channel. So I'm really excited for that. But my channel is TSWS Gaming. You've probably seen me talking in the chat quite a bit earlier. But yeah, definitely go to that channel, check it out. We'll be on live at 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern. I always got to balance those dang time, those dang time zones and whatnot, because I'm Central, but I usually always mention everything for Eastern because that's where most of my viewers tend to be. But yeah, definitely come check me out. It'll be a good time. Got a pretty fun panel tonight. Thank you so much again, Boom, for allowing me to come back, have some fun. I had a lot to say, so hopefully I didn't drag on too much.
Not at all, brother. This is a conversational podcast, brother. That's what we do here. We got the 3 topics in 2 hours. Everyone said their piece, and no one's rushed. You get out there, you say what you got to say. It's always interesting conversations, Ham Solo, and we're happy to have you here, brother. So thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure, and I'm happy to come back anytime. Just let me know, or maybe
the door is open. Check your mailbox. The key is there. Front door, no problem. Whenever you want to join, you let me know. You got the golden key, so you can join us anytime you want. Anytime you want to talk about games.
Need a ham sandwich.
Oh Lord, hey, collect them in all of Starfield, and you'll unlock an achievement.
I hope so. I want to collect those damn sandwiches. I want to have a table full of them.
It's going to sound fantastic.
I love it. So thanks so much for joining us, brother. We'll see you back here very soon. Wilmy Hood, brother, you got a great show, and you're back. I saw that you put out this tweet where, obviously due to some serious health issues that nearly cost you your life. A lot of people don't know how serious this thing was.
Oh, I was dead, dude.
Yeah,
Literally.
So there you go, folks. He was dead, and now he's here. He's not a zombie either, or an AI. This is really Wilmy Hood. You're laser focused. You're bringing back what we know and love about your gaming beyond the box. You obviously have Dreadpool, who wasn't here today because he got stuck at work. He's on your panel. You guys give it to us raw and uncut, but you're not ashamed to do it. Talk about it, brother. Where can people subscribe to your show? Reach and tune in Sundays. And more importantly, reach out to you on social media. And potentially, if you're an a-hole, be part of the, 2,300,600 and something blocked people on Twitter.
Well, the block list got really short after Twitter banned my original account 2 months ago. So I'm getting started on a new one. I'm up to about 16,000 again already. But you can find me on Twitter at WilmyHood number 2. Yeah, sadly, it's got to be number 2. Elon hadn't caught on yet. But Lena may point it out to him. And you can find me on Xbox, PlayStation, or Steam. Just look for the name Wilmy Hood. And you can find me on YouTube every Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern on Gaming Beyond the Box. And like Boom said, we're an adult podcast. If you have small children, I would advise them not listening.
Cover their ears or send them to another room.
So yeah, we don't recommend small children. And it was good to be back. Good to see Fuzzy. Great to see Ham. Although I really did not know Fuzzy was bald. That just the look on his face the entire time just kind of tripped me out while we've been doing the podcast. Because he looks like that NPC in the corner of a room that wants you to do something, but he's not going to tell you.
I got it.
He just got that look. So, but yeah, man, it was glad to be back, Boom, and thanks for having me. And I've got to get my ass off here and get to work.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Wilmy. Super appreciate it. Super Chat just came in, and I don't know what it is with the software. They updated it, Tim. Tim the Sorcerer drops a very generous £2. Super Chat says, "Hey, you forgot a member chat. LOL, no worries." For some reason, since they added the ability to see Super Chats in a separate section, I'm not getting it. I think what I'm going to have to do...
I just added it in the private chat for you, Dave.
Oh, good. Excellent. Thank you, Dave. Super appreciate the backup. Tim the Sorcerer says, well, first of all, has been a channel member for over a year. So, Tim, honestly and truly, we appreciate the generosity. He says, "Hey, Boom, congrats on 13K. Like to plug once again, Living Split Screen. Boys are close to 1K. Have a great weekend." Yeah, listen, and I'll plug them. I'm more than happy to do it. Living Split Screen are Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That, of course, has I Steel Rain and Pong Soul. They do 3+ hour a week podcasts. It's live, raw, and uncut. It's taken from an RTS view, meaning that the whole playing field is in front of you. They're like 900 and change, folks. Again, I actually had Steel Rain on yesterday, and we plugged his stuff. If there's one channel that's deserving of your sub, and if you trust me as a gamer, right? If you trust me as a podcast creator, content creator, by all means, go check them out. Throw them a sub. Let's get them past 1K because they work real hard, man, and they're two honest and really, really good dudes. And I'd love to see them hit the 1K. I'm going to drop their link into the chat So you can head over there. And like I said, if you trust me, and I hope that you do, you get over there and you sub Living Split Screen. But thank you, Dave, for the save. Speaking of Dave, brother, you got a show. You got a big show coming up this Sunday. You got, I'm sure, a couple of interviews in Locked and Loaded. I'm going to be on your show August 6th, making my debut appearance on your Sunday show. Sell your brand, brother. Talk about the best place to subscribe to your YouTube channel. Get these amazing one-on-one interviews and reach out to you on social media.
Thank you so much, Boom. I actually have 2 shows this weekend. So, yeah.
Very nice.
We have our first members only show, which is going to be this Saturday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, it'll be like exclusive for members for like 3 days. And then after that, it will drop in the channel for everybody to watch. But if you're there live, it's going to be good because we have Silent Cypher and we also have King David. So, yeah. So it kind of works out because King was always exhausted after his show because, they do a 5-hour podcast. So he couldn't really make ours. So he said, this will be perfect. So let's do this. So that's what's up with that. We have Lady Firefox is going to be on Monday's show, and then the week after that I have C Money episode dropping. So good times.
Very nice, brother. Good stuff. So well, listen, get out there and support everyone. All of their links will be available when the show goes on demand on YouTube. What you got to do is double click it, and if you're generous and you want to click the icon, the bell icon, to constantly be notified when they go live or they put up content, you can do that. 3 clicks. Click to get there. Click the sub. Click the bell icon. And trust me, we all super appreciate it. Last and no way least, which is another amazing content creator who spends a lot of time doing these podcasts. I'd love to see his channel get to 1K. Fuzzy Belvedere, please, by all means, sell your brand. Talk about the best place for anything and everything racing. And more importantly, where can people reach out to you on social media?
Oh, just always appreciate being on here with you guys. Always great to have Wilmy Hood and Ham Solo as guests on here. Love your guys' thoughts and takes on things. For those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on pretty much any social media, mainly Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on Xbox, not Lunch Break Special, I'm sorry, Xbox Ultimate later on tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fun Speculations channel. The Shop Podcast on Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on PTK Blam's channel. And then right back here on Monday at 12 noon for the Xbox Lunch Break Special. Look forward to seeing you guys there.
Yeah, brother, thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, again, I have to thank the abundance of incredible generosity. Wait. We can't forget Crispy Bomb. Crispy, I know you're not doing any podcasts, but you still deserve an outro, and I nearly failed you as a brother and a content creator. Holy matrimony. Crispy, obviously, you're going to be watching with a keen eye as to what happens. And I know, because you're Crispy Bomb, and we love you for it, you're going to be taking your victory laps once this thing explodes in the face of the FTC and LenaCon. Where could people potentially tune in and, more importantly, reach out to you on social media to take those victory laps with you, kind sir?
At Crispy Bomb on Twitter, Crispy Bomb 28 Xbox Live, and I will be doing a podcast this weekend, Gaming Beyond the Box. I will be there at 7 p.m. Sunday.
I've heard of those guys, yeah.
So I will bring my franchise haters over there.
The guy that runs it,
yes,
he's
of course,
a douche,
back here.
letting you know.
Oh my goodness.
Tuned in.
You broke him, Wilmy. You broke him.
Oh my goodness. Well, listen, Crispy. Listen, dude. Honestly, I'm so glad to have you back. You went through it, bro, and we're glad that you're on the other side of it. Again, it's still sad, but I'm glad that the community came out in a big way. You deserve the support, and obviously,
I appreciate everybody. Really do. Thank you.
Yeah, and we love you, brother. We honestly do. And
yes, we do.
Glad that you're back with us, and you're back at a great time because there's a lot to get into. And once the ABK deal is done, we're going to get to talking about games again, which is something I quite enjoy doing. And I cannot wait to get back to it. And folks, again, a big thank you to all the super chats that came in again, as they do, and the generosity could just not be ignored. Mrs. BoomStick and I are looking to give away a total of $3,500 worth of prizes in about 4 shows. We're giving away 15 copies of Stalker 2, which we're going to go to the store and buy, and we're going to give those codes out. Again, it's our mom and pop way of trying to help a small developer who we know is getting a bag from Microsoft for getting it into Game Pass day and date, but we want to make sure they get their 70% because obviously they were displaced with the Russian conflict that Ukraine is currently in the middle of. We're giving away $1,000 for the holiday Christmas episode before Christmas. It's usually the week before. And we have 2 podcasts. One, of course, is in September, which is going to be Mr. Boomstick's birthday bash. We're giving away $500 there. My birthday, you guys and gals get the prizes. And on Mrs. Boom's birthday bash in November, we're doing another $500 giveaway. Again, her birthday, you guys and gals get the prizes. And the other thing that we want to stress, and we're one of the few shows to do this, and we're proud that we can say this, is even if you live outside of the Americas and you win a prize and the picker picks your name, you will win that prize. Mrs. Boomstick and I have set forth extra money that if we have to pay transfer fees, that's on us. If there's a difference in denomination in monies, meaning that, like, say you live in the UK and you win and your dollars are more are higher than ours, we give you the exact amount of dollars to pounds. We pay for that. We do not ask you to pay for anything. The only caveat, folks, is that we must do these transactions on PayPal simply because we are covered and we are secure. And obviously, it's better for us. It's safer for us to send money to different parts of the world. So again, that's how we're funded. We're funded with the super chats. We're funded with the channel memberships. And of course, Mrs. Boom and I want to say a big thank you for that. We had over 800 people here today, which is bonkers. So thank you for that. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, Craig, I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Enjoy gaming on whatever console you enjoy gaming on. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.